Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stu here from Spain Speaks with an update on the current situation in Spain, day 220 of the current situation. And there's no end in sight, unfortunately, as the numbers continue to rise here in Spain. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel by buying merchandise. And a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your ongoing support. Now, as I said, the numbers continue to rise here in Spain. In fact, record numbers have been recorded over the last couple of days, and we can see here that Spain has reported a record high 38,000 coronavirus cases in just one day, bringing the total close to 1 million. The latest report from the Health Ministry included 217 new fatalities and indicated a rise in the hospital occupancy rate of COVID-19 patients. So a record 38,000 cases in one day, and as we saw there, the total number of cases edging closer every day to that 1 million mark. Now, as we have seen in recent times, the number one hotspot for the coronavirus in Spain is the autonomous community of Navarra, and they have announced that they are going to close the perimeters to that entire region, plus more restrictions, as the incidence rate in Navarra now sits at 945 cases per 100,000 inhabitants. The president of Navarra, Maria Chevite, has announced that from this Thursday, Navarra will be under perimeter confinement measures, and the exit or entry of people to the autonomous community will not be allowed for 15 days, except in exceptional cases established by work obligations, essential or emergency services. So Navarra, they're becoming the first autonomous community here in Spain to announce that they are closing down their borders, and we'll see if more autonomous communities in Spain decide to implement something similar in coming weeks. Now, the face of the coronavirus here in Spain, Fernando Simón, has come out and spoken of a smooth rise and has pointed out the population's fatigue due to the measures. The director of the CCAES, who last Thursday spoke of a possible stabilization, points out a rise in cases in recent days and asks the population to comply with individual measures. So in a period of 5 days, we've gone from a possible stabilization to a smooth rise. Now, the word curfew is all over the papers today, and it brings back fond memories of when I was a teenager. My parents used to use that word quite a lot. But we can see here that the Madrid community assures that it is studying, and it would not see badly that the central government applies a curfew in all Spain. The community of Madrid thinks that it wouldn't be a bad idea to see a curfew decreed to restrict mobility, and is studying whether to raise this point with the central government. This has been assured by the Minister of Health in Madrid, Enrique Ruiz Escudero, this Tuesday, who added that in any case this decision would have to be made by the government of Pedro Sánchez due to legal coverage, and that it would not apply only in Madrid but throughout Spain. So a possible curfew there on the cards, and if the Madrid government gets its way, it will be a nationwide curfew and not only limited to Madrid. We see that France recently imposed a curfew on its citizens, and Spain seems to be heading in that direction. Now, of course, the word curfew comes from French, and I was looking before at the etymology of the word, and here in Spain, curfew translates to toque de queda. So I'm sure that in coming days you will see and hear that expression quite a lot in the press here in Spain. Now let's have a look at the health situation in Spain and some of the hotspots around the country, some of the hotspot autonomous communities here in Spain, starting with Madrid. We can see the total number of cases since the pandemic began. We can see the current cumulative incidence rate at 439.33. Deaths in the last 7 days sit at 67, and hospital pressure, which is one of the key indicators that's being used at the moment to determine restrictions. In Madrid, we can see that there are 3,217 hospitalized COVID patients, and in the ICU, we can see that there are 486 patients currently. Navarra, as I mentioned before, the main hotspot, total number of cases there, the cumulative incidence rate, as we saw before, 945.41. Deaths in the last 7 days, 29. And in that part of Spain, there are currently 277 COVID patients and 37 COVID patients occupying ICU beds. Another problem area is Aragon. We can see the total number of cases. The cumulative incidence rate sits at 509.36. Deaths in the last 7 days, 43, and 575 COVID patients currently in hospitals and 74 COVID patients in ICU. And finally, Andalusia, we can see the total number of cases there. The cumulative incidence rate sits at 270.81. Deaths in the last 7 days, 71. 1,644 patients currently in hospital with COVID and 209 patients currently in ICU. So the situation there in Andalusia quite good if we compare it to other parts of Spain. And as we can see in this headline here, Andalusia resists the closure of its capitals but continues to adopt restrictions. Andalusia has been breaking records in the daily figures of coronavirus infections for weeks, but even more so, especially in recent weeks, in the data of hospitalizations and ICU admissions. According to official data, the positivity rate in Andalusia is 17.7%, above the 14.7% rate in Madrid. Following several of the parameters adopted by the Ministry of Health, the community is currently in a situation of extreme risk, with 250 positive cases per 100,000 inhabitants. Andalusia added 22,787 positive cases in the last 14 days, which yields an incidence of 270.81. So the situation in Andalusia is slowly getting worse, and if the government does announce that new alert system, which they're planning on doing later this week, Andalusia will find itself in an extreme risk situation. Now let's turn our attention to some non-COVID news for a change and talk a little bit about the economy. And we all know that the government here in Spain is desperate to get its budgets passed this year. We saw the other day that they sent off a draft plan to Brussels to get their approval. And we can see here that tax increases and improvements to the minimum vital income are the main points of disagreement of the budgets. The increase in personal income tax for the highest incomes, the regulation of the price of rent, the return of purchasing power to the IPREM, or improvements to the minimum vital income are some of the points of discrepancy within the government between the PSOE and the United Podemos, or in English, We Can Party. Some disagreements that could delay the draft of the general state budgets. So there we go. It looks as though it's going to be difficult for Mr. Sanchez to get his budgets passed, as we can see some points of discrepancy between the coalition government, not even to mention the discrepancies that they're going to have with the opposition. Now, the topic of immigration is back in the headlines again here in Spain. It used to be a very popular topic until COVID came along, and we can see here in this headline that the Canary Islands, overwhelmed by the arrival of immigrants, is asking the government and Europe for help. We are an island prison, they say. In the Canary Islands, they are overwhelmed with the arrival of immigrant boats. Since last Saturday alone, they have had to help over 700 people. The reception centres are saturated, a situation that is becoming extreme. There is no space or means to serve the people who reach the coast every day in boats. Canary Island authorities have complained and are asking the government and Europe for help. Many immigrants go to licensed hotels where there are already 3,000 people. The island's authorities say that this is an unsustainable situation. We're turning into a prison island, reflects the president of Cabildo, Antonio Morales. The Canary Islands is demanding that the immigrants be transferred to the continent. Spain currently has 60% of free places in the peninsular territory, and former President Fernando Clavijo thinks that there is a deliberate government strategy to leave the immigrants in the Canary Islands. So the immigration situation in the Canary Islands, according to authorities there, is starting to become unsustainable. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from recent videos. First one here from Natalie. Are you allowed to make your own reusable masks providing they are aligned with health regulations, standards, triple layered, etc.? Very popular here in Melbourne and a great way to make money and stop spending it. I made and sold masks here. They were a hit and a good way to stay positive in ISO. Yeah, Natalie, thanks for the comment. I don't think that there are any rules or regulations against people making their own mask. In fact, you can see quite a lot of people around the place with homemade masks on. And to be honest, some of them look quite good, some of them don't. And mask making has become big business. There's lots of shops around the place that now sell masks. They have become a fashion accessory. See lots of people walking around with color-coordinated masks. Masks that have the little Spanish flag on them are also quite popular. So homemade masks and designer masks are quite popular at the moment. And the other day I saw that in Barcelona they have opened a shop which only sells masks. So big business at the moment. One here from Christopher. Seems to me that Spain's biggest problem is that the government won't settle on a plan and stick with it. Every day it seems like they come up with new plans. Yeah, Christopher, thanks for the comment. And you're right, that seems to be a pretty good perception of what's happening in the country at the moment. Lots of different people saying different things. Every day somebody says something different. We saw there earlier in the video Fernando Simon saying something on Thursday, and then on Tuesday he says something completely different. That happens also with the health minister, the prime minister as well, and a whole range of experts. In fact, I've never seen so many experts have an opinion on what people should and shouldn't do. It gets a bit confusing. And every day there seems to be talk of a new plan, new restrictions, and basically the government just seems to be playing hit and miss at the moment and seeing what works and what doesn't. One here from Joe Stewart. How bad do you think this will get? Do you think there will be another severe lockdown like March in Madrid, Spain? I read about an interview with Margarita de Val, a Spanish virologist, who said that in Madrid the only way to control the pandemic is home confinement because the virus is out of control. Yeah, Joe, thanks for the comment. I think the government has said on numerous occasions that they are trying to avoid a severe lockdown like the one that we had in March. Obviously, the economy is their biggest worry there. They don't think the economy will be able to withstand another total lockdown like that one. As I mentioned before, now they're starting to talk about curfews, possibly getting people to be indoors at around 9 p.m. I think that'll be the time that they set for the curfew here in Spain, if they do get around to setting one, of course, that is. And that person that you mentioned there, Margarita de Val, is starting to pop up on our television screens more and more frequently. Here's what she looks like. I'm sure that you have seen her on the telly in recent times. She's the lady there on the right. And you can see here the headline, Margarita de Val worries Ana Pastor about her prediction about the vaccine. The virologist has recognized that there are many months ahead. And as you mentioned in the comments, she is in favor of more severe restrictions, especially in big cities like Madrid. So keep an eye on Margarita, and we'll keep an eye on that situation in coming weeks. One here from Helen. Hi, Stuart. Any reason why you never mention Barcelona? Yeah, Helen, thanks for the comment. I don't agree with you. I think I mentioned Barcelona quite a bit. In recent times, I have mentioned Barcelona on a regular basis, especially with the new restrictions that they have put in place in recent times. Sometimes I only talk about Catalonia, and perhaps that's what you're referring to. When I talk about Madrid, I refer to the community of Madrid, not just Madrid city, and therefore when I talk about Catalonia, I talk about the whole region and not necessarily the city of Barcelona. But I do mention Barcelona quite a lot, I think. One here from Geraldine. We have been here 3 weeks tomorrow, and tomorrow we get our padrón. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe someone can help. And Friday we get our NIE. Next is trying to get insurance. I had cancer just under 5 years ago. Keep up the good work. Love this channel. Yeah, Geraldine, thanks for the comment, and I hope you are enjoying your time here in Spain. The padrón is just basically a document that proves that you are registered in a particular municipality. You just go to your local town hall, fill out a form, show your ID card, and away you go. It's a fairly simple process, but for me it's a necessary document in order to get my residency renewed every 5 years, and I suppose that's going to be the case for British people as well with their new situation. One here from Penelope. Valencia Comunidad is gorgeous but chilly in the evenings. Canaries less so but not as beautiful. And a similar comment from Pamela. Yes, Stuart, the Canary Islands are about 10 degrees higher all year round than in Valencia region, particularly in the winter months. Pamela. Yeah, ladies, thanks for the comment. They, of course, are in relation to one comment that I got the other day from somebody who was asking about which is the better area to spend the winter, Valencia or the Canary Islands. And obviously from what you both said there, the Canary Islands are going to be the best choice if you are looking to escape the European winter. And of course, we all know that the Canaries are a very, very popular destination this time of year. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.